I have to admit it rings kind of hollow with me, but I'm going to do it anyway because the Southeastern Conference hysterically co-opted each other's success for years. And I'm like, okay, all right. They all talk SEC.
The dollar sign EC.
Yeah. Well, now that the Big Ten has won 3 straight national championships, I'm going to mention it. I don't find a ton of gratification in it, but it is being interpreted as a changing of the guard in college football, and that the B1G now runs the show. And I'm not going to tell people they're wrong. I'm just, I don't think I'm enjoying it as much as Southeastern Conference fans did. I tease my SEC buddies. Got a text chain with them, but they're even kind of acquiescing that the Big Ten has taken over. Nick Saban made the comment yesterday on the pregame show that the NIL world favors the Big Ten because nobody's leaving the South to go play in the North without money. And I'm thinking, God, for 50 years, it sure felt like players didn't leave the South because of money.
Right, because they actually got paid, so they stayed there. Because they weren't allowed to pay in the North. We follow the rules, I guess.
Well, we try.
More so than the teams in the South.
I think it's wink and a nod and acknowledge that was always the case. And this is one of the reasons why I don't want any rules put in place for a good decade here.
3 in a row is pretty good.
3 in a row is pretty sweet. And don't look now, but in college basketball, Michigan's number 2, Purdue's number 4, undefeated Nebraska ball is number 7, Michigan State's number 10, and Illinois is number 11. No SEC teams are in that grouping, 1 to 11. And so it's not just, it might be more than just football, which is cool.
The Big Ten's always been pretty good in basketball, but the ACC was the standard. It's not the SEC in basketball.
But the SEC's had a good run of late. The last few years, they've been really strong. Yeah. But look, Indiana's been a fun story for those that had no dog in the fight because they're new and they're different and they're the little engine that could, and they're a team that was a laughing stock, a poverty program for so long, and they got the hire right. They
got the hire right.
And Signetti tapped into, I feel like Signetti went and did what the Red Wings did. Like he got a bunch of Russians, and they weren't Russians. They were a group of 5 players that had developed and were older and could compete with the Power 5. And
that you didn't have to pay an arm and a leg for because they were a group of 5 guys. So when they came to the Big Ten, they're like, well, yeah, I'll go to the Big Ten.
Yep. And Kamara and Fisher and Pons and Surratt, and they grabbed a receiver from Old Dominion. They grabbed the quarterback from Ohio U last year. Mendoza.
Well, Mendoza was from Cal.
From Cal, but Cal is not exactly a powerhouse program. And now they're going to be able to capitalize on it because people are going to answer Signetti's call, and they got it up and running, and it's cool. And it will be cool for a while until we get sick of them. But at the end of the day, it is a power shift in the collegiate game that has benefited our region.
I love this story because I think it's the turnaround having it happen as fast as it did is absolutely incredible. And if the SEC spin is going to be, well, yeah, they're just spending money. Okay, they didn't. I don't know if those guys on the offensive line were wildly recruited elsewhere. They took chances on guys, right? The coach took his own guys from James Madison and took guys that he played against and guys that he knew. And those guys were available to anybody else. And I don't think they overpaid for anyone. I don't think people are looking at the portal and going, oh, my God, look what Indiana just got in the portal. Now, maybe Mendoza raised an eyebrow because he had a really nice year at Cal prior to getting there. But the rest of the guys, it was a bunch of no-names. Like, who the hell are these guys? And then as season 2 of success goes on, then you realize, okay, some of these guys are really good players. Some of these guys are actually going to play in the NFL. But they weren't the wildly recruited guys that the SEC would typically go after. So I'll push back on the whole thing. Well, they're just going to buy it. Now, it could be a little different moving forward because Indiana's had the success for 2 years, and now they have the perfect season and the national championship, and Mark Cuban is going to start funding things, and There's smart people in Indiana that know how to manipulate this and pay for it, and they will. And they're going to start doing that. And Indiana's had a great portal recruiting class going into the upcoming season. But their high school recruiting class was, it's good, not great. Everything was outside the top 25 by recruiting services, but we'll see what they do. What Cignetti does next is going to be interesting. He's got a quarterback. Even though he just lost the Heisman Trophy winner, they're reloading with another good quarterback. We'll see what they have to do with the receivers and the offensive line. They're losing a lot of players, but it seems like they've got this thing rolling, and they've got the right coach. It starts there. This guy can coach anybody.
The other thing, to Saban's point, unless you think of James Madison as the South, like Roman Hemby was a transfer from Maryland. Riley Nowakowski and Drew Evans came from Wisconsin. Like, it wasn't like he went down south and raided the South. He got Pat Coogan from Notre Dame.
Where was Surratt from?
Surratt was a James Madison kid. So if James Madison's the South, I guess it could apply to what Saban was saying, but
it's James Madison. It's not Alabama, Auburn, LSU, Mississippi, Florida.
Yeah, I don't think what he had to say applies to Indiana at all. They got the receiver who's down the depth chart. I have to look his name. He's a Clemson kid. One of their DBs is an NC State kid. The receiver's E.J. Williams.
Well, it doesn't apply to Indiana.
No, it doesn't apply.
Does it apply to other teams in the Big Ten? Yeah,
yes,
it does. So lots of players from Florida and Georgia, and those are just the states, let alone the programs, are moving on to teams in the North. Are they moving on because they're paying? Absolutely.
Well,
absolutely.
It was a fun game to watch. And Gator, do you know that is the first Adidas national champion since? Can you name the last Adidas national champion?
If I cared, I might be able to.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Tennessee in 1998. And this was two Adidas schools playing against one another, which had the folks at Adidas very happy.
Good for them.
Yeah. My favorite player in the field for Indiana is D'Angelo Pons, the undersized defensive back.
He's very good.
Who is not only makes plays on the football, he hits hard. He has no regard for his personal well-being.
No, and he's smart the way he plays the game, and he is so quick. The play he made to start the game, the pass knockaway, was the pass defend that he had was incredible. Yep. He's got an arm on the back of the receiver, but it's not pulling him away. There's no interference there. He just reaches across, boom. He karate chops the ball away. You don't have a chance. 5'9", I get it, but it's a guy who's 5'9" with all the heart in the world, and there are guys like that in the NFL. This guy's going to be a player next level.
Much has been made, and we've talked about it for weeks, and the rest of the world is kind of caught up to it, is the age of the Indiana roster. This is a formula. This is absolutely a formula. And Dion was the first coach that said, to hell with high school recruiting, I'm going after transfers. Now, you got to get the right guys, but the older the roster, that was, you look at the Michigan team that won the 2023 national championship. They had an older roster. This is an older roster. I've seen this in college hockey for years. Mm-hmm. I think it's applicable because in colleges, a lot of guys go to juniors and then start as 20-year-old freshmen at Quinnipiac, who goes out and wins a national championship because they got 23 and 24-year-olds playing against Michigan and Michigan State with their 5-star 18-year-olds that are going to get drafted that year. But it's men against boys. I think.
And now they've changed the rules.
Yes.
So it makes it even better for college.
But at the end of the day, I think that might be the one thing that is totally repeatable by others is, I don't want to say to hell with high school recruiting, but if you can get a fourth-year guy.
Well, it's keeping guys in your program would be great. Or getting players that have experience, and because they're paying at the college level, like you're getting paid as a professional, why not stay the extra year? You can understand that Dante Moore going back to Oregon. Dante Moore would have likely have been the second quarterback taken in the NFL draft this year. Mm-hmm. First round pick for sure. And he's like, you know what? No, I'll get paid $6 million to stay at Oregon. I'll do that. I'll go one more year to Oregon, enjoy the college life, and then I'll go pro afterwards. Because that's where the money's at right now. Now, that's for the top guys, but if you're, somebody, an offensive lineman that's not going to be a first-round pick, but you're a hot name in the portal, and you might get $800,000 to $1 million or whatever the price is, and you're not going to get that being a fourth-round draft pick, do it.
Doug, I can't believe, did you mention I'm sorry, I was busy back here. Did you mention Jamari Sharp wasn't your favorite player last night?
No. D'Angelo Ponce's.
Yeah, why not Jamari Sharp?
The one that picked it off at the end?
Yeah, how poetic was it that he's the one who picked off the ball to end the game? Did you hear that story at the end of that?
No.
Okay, you brought this up last week or 2 weeks ago. The Miami game versus Ohio State. What happened in the end zone?
The pass interference call?
You know who that was?
Oh, was it the kid's dad?
His uncle.
Oh, my God.
Can you believe that? Can you believe that? Now, how many years later?
So
his
the flag
nephew
was thrown on a Miami player in the 2002 national championship game, a controversial call in the end zone that kept an Ohio State drive alive. They ended up winning the game. It was his nephew that picked that off?
Yep. And Sharp was his uncle that called for the pass interference call.
That's crazy.
That's unbelievable.
So
isn't
the
it?
Sharp family has had direct impact on 2 national championship losses for Miami right at the end. Wow. We'll get to your phone calls and feedback coming up. It is Karsch and Anderson on 97.1.